There are good reasons that astrologers are calling March the most potent, pivotal, and potentially life-changing month of 2025. Venus and Mercury are both turning retrograde. We have 2 eclipses. Yes, eclipse season is fully here. And the spring equinox, we are changing into a new season, Aries season. And not only this, and perhaps most telling, Neptune, the visionary planet of what does your heart want most, enters Aries for the first time in 165 years. So March is a month to ride with the tide, go with the flow, expect to get some insights and powerful understanding that may bubble up from the surface that can powerfully move you forward, my friend. So in this video, I'm excited to share with you the key transits and dates of the month of March. That's part 1 of this video. In part 2, I'm going to be doing monthly horoscopes for each of the 12 signs, including pulling an oracle card for your sign as well. Be sure to watch part 1 of this video first, because if you go to your monthly horoscopes, you are going to miss some of the most important nuances. And also for the major transits, I'm going to let you know who will feel those most intensely, most personally, based on the degree points that they're happening. So you don't want to miss that. So before I dive deeper, I want to say hello and welcome. If you are brand new to the channel, you are so warmly invited to be part of this like-minded community. Tap the subscribe button. It's free and you won't miss a video. And welcome back to all of you wonderful people who have been watching my videos. To my subscribers, I am so incredibly grateful for you. I'm Betsy Gutting. I am a psychic astrologer, intuitive life coach, and the author of the book, The Magic of Saying Yes, Answering Your Heart's True Calling. We are going into Aries season, which is so aligned with my book, where I share with you how do you move into alignment? How do you even know what's calling to your soul? How do you even know what would be most aligned with you? If that intrigues you, the link to my book is in the description box below. I am a full-time professional astrologer, so I do astrology consultations. If you are intrigued, stay tuned till the end of the video where I will go into my offerings, and I have a free gift for you. I will tell you how you can get that free gift at the end of this video, but if you would like to receive my weekly inspirational astrology updates, which is the astrology between videos, I write about the astrology every week, go to my website, sign up for free, and you will get that free gift instant download right away. Also, I am going to be doing a live gathering March 13th in Laguna Beach, California for the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. I would love to meet you there. All of the information is on my events page on my website, as well as in the description box below. We begin the month with 7 planets and points in water, 6 in Pisces, plus Mars in Cancer, which turned direct on the 23rd of February. And if you felt that Mars shifting into direct motion, I thought that was quite a doozy. If you felt it too, leave me a comment. Last Sunday, I came down with a dreadful case of food poisoning. I thought I was going out for a lovely lunch, and a few hours later, I felt completely betrayed by the quiche. Now, with 6 planets and points in Pisces, your emotions will very likely be on the surface. You could feel emotionally overwhelmed. That happens quite often in Pisces energy. I have found that the antidote to that is to tell myself, let's just go with the flow and see how it goes. One step at a time, break it down into small chunks, and often it all becomes manageable by doing it that way. You could feel more tired, you could want to break, this is a beautiful time to take a vacation. You may be definitely thinking about what's my favorite escape, and I'm going to do that, and as long as it's healthy, I highly encourage it. More rest needed, and during this month, your best friend could be naps, lots of naps. Pisces and Virgo are associated with the immune system, so our constitution is more delicate during this time. On March 1st, Venus is going to shift into retrograde motion right out of the gate, right at the beginning of the month, and it will begin in Aries. In fact, most of the month until March 27th, Venus will be retrograde in Aries. I have a separate video for you on this, a much deeper dive. But the short of it is that it is a reset, a reflection time in the Venusian areas of our life, which is love, money, beauty, pleasure, your heart's longings and desires, self-worth, deserving. And during a retrograde, often new information is revealed. A truth is revealed. Somebody, either ourselves or another person that we're in relationship with, may have a change of mind or a change of heart. There's often an unexpected turn of events. Stuff gets kicked up during a Venus retrograde. This retrograde is going until April 12th. Because it begins in Aries, and that is most of this month. You may notice that you are very tuned into your own needs. Aries energy is our I am identity. It is the self and or your physical body, because Aries is ruled by Mars and Mars rules our body. So this is the time, just like I talked about with all the energy in Pisces, this is the time to be really cognizant of the fact that our bodies may feel more delicate and we may need to focus more on our health. And or you could be focused on performance, like performance at work, or like wanting to do really well at something, because that's also Aries energy. But what I found is that ultimately what it wants us to do, how it's supporting us, is to become aware of any patterns that are not fully self-loving and shift that. Who will most feel this transit of Venus in Aries and Pisces retrograde? The retrograde is beginning at 10 degrees of Aries. So if you have planets or points between 0 and 10 degrees of Aries, or the other cardinal signs of Libra, Capricorn, or Cancer, you will feel this most intensely and personally. And then when Venus retrogrades into Pisces, March 27th, those of you who have planets or points between 29 and 24, let's say it the other way, 24 and 29 degrees of the mutable signs of Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, or Sagittarius, you will feel this transit most intensely, most personally. On March 3rd, Mercury, the planet of thinking and communication and our emails and our short trips, and basically Mercury is the planet of divine downloads, but also our comings and goings and all of our transactions and our purchases and so on. Mercury will enter fiery Aries. Spring has sprung in your mindset and in your communication. I love this shift of Mercury from Pisces, where things can feel like we're floating out in the middle of the ocean. Yes, it could feel more foggy. Yes, we can feel more, a little more spacey. I noticed with Mercury in Pisces that staying focused on tasks was a little bit more challenging. I had a little bit more ADHD, attention dialed into a higher dimension. I had a little bit more of that, which makes sense because that's the highest octave of Pisces energy is the ethereal realms. However, with Mercury now in Aries, you will probably notice your thoughts speeding up. They could be more ambitious. You could get new inspirations. Your mind will be fired, Aries, fired up. And you could feel that a new idea so maybe before you didn't feel like you were up to a challenge, but now with Mercury in Aries, we get more brave in our thinking. Stay open to the spontaneous flow of new possibilities. However, keep in mind that Mercury is going to retrograde this month, and so we don't yet know the whole story. On March 5th, Mercury in Aries is going to make a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. If you've been following astrology and learning about it, you know that Pluto is a power player. Pluto rules both a painful shedding of a skin, but also passion and empowerment. And a sextile is a harmonious aspect. So Mercury in Aries, your thinking, your new inspirations, what is getting you excited, is working together with Pluto in Aquarius, and this is often a new opportunity, new ideas. Sextiles are, let's get this ball rolling, let's make something practical happen with this energy. This is a time that you might get new revelations. You might have more conversations with people about what is firing you up and what is sparking your sense of aliveness. That's Aries energy. You may feel a need to get to the bottom of something. Pluto energy is also our inner detective. When you need more information, that's sort of a deeper dive that maybe feel shrouded, because Pluto's also the unconscious mind. Things can be sort of under the surface with Pluto. That's when our inner detective comes out. So you may be motivated to dig deep on something, to do a lot of research on something. You might want to have a deep, intimate talk, also Pluto, with somebody that is significant to you in your life that you've been putting off. Stay true to you, but also remember, we don't yet know the whole story. That's mantra number 1 for this month. On March 8th, the sun in Pisces, and I love this aspect so much, the sun in Pisces is making a trine to Mars in Cancer, now direct. I love this because trines are ease and flow. They are both water energies. We've had quite a Mars retrograde. A lot of us have felt that quite intensely. And remember that all these transits I'm talking about, you could feel a day before, a day after, with the exception of eclipses, which can be weeks before and weeks after. But a transit like this, you may feel on March 6th or 7th, March 9th, even 10th. Now, I feel that with this lovely trine, we might feel like we're getting some of our mojo back. Mars has been at 17 degrees for 25 days, the same degree for 25 days. If you have planets or points, especially in the cardinal signs around 17 degrees, you have felt this. I have my Saturn in Capricorn at 17 degrees, and I have felt this because Mars has been opposing my Saturn. Now, you may feel like you've been at a standstill or you've been working hard to make progress at something and the progress hasn't happened. This could be a breakthrough day. Or you could just feel like, okay, I feel like I'm getting some energy back because Mars is our physical energy. And Mars will not clear, I do have to say this, Mars will not clear the post-shadow period where it's retracing its step back over the degrees that it traveled in its retrograde time. It won't clear that post-shadow period in Cancer, until April 17th. Then it moves on to Leo, and it's not going to be till early May that it clears the post-retrograde shadow of Leo. But still, this may feel like, okay, there's some movement, and that's a good thing. On March 11th, Mercury is going to make a conjunction to Venus retrograde in Aries. I like this because it's conversations, it's our thinking. As long as our thoughts are on the higher vibration, they are in a higher frequency. In other words, we are opening up to positive, good things for ourselves. This can be a great time to have conversations, meetups with other people who support you. It's also a time that we may experience fated or destined events or meetings. Why? Because Venus retrograde can be connected to karmic connections. With all retrogrades, we are retracing our steps that we've already been over, and that can be just where Venus has been, but also where Venus has been in past lifetimes with other people. So people from past lifetimes could come back into our life. This is a great time for reflecting on Venusian subjects, love, money, beauty, pleasure, comforts, relationships, but also keep in mind, because both Mercury will, a few days later, go retrograde and Venus is already retrograde, we don't yet know the whole story. On March 12th, the sun is going to make a conjunction to Saturn. We call this a Saturn cazimi. This is the last time that the sun and Saturn will be conjunct while Saturn is in this deep, emotional, imaginative water sign of Pisces. Saturn rules timing, commitment, responsibilities, accountability, a solid, sustainable foundation and structure, the structures of our lives. Saturn rules this. Saturn also rules timing. This conjunction favors taking a step toward a goal or a dream that is important to you, clarifying a boundary, receiving recognition and rewards perhaps for past work that you have done where you feel like finally something is happening here, something is paying off, all the work I put into XYZ, whatever it is for you. Because Saturn in Pisces rules endings and completions, it's the 12th house, it's the last sign. You could also find that you're finally deciding, Saturn, that I'm letting something go. I'm letting a chapter go. I'm releasing my past. This thing, whatever this thing is for you, you may be ending and you're letting it be. You're clearing the slate. You're turning the page. On March 13th, a day later, we are going to have the first eclipse of 2025. This eclipse, like all eclipses, are course correcting. What do I mean by that? I mean that eclipses pick us up and put us down in the place that we are meant to be if we are not currently aligned, fully aligned with our soul's path, our soul's evolutionary trajectory. Eclipses can be challenging or they can bring blessings. And this one is a full moon total lunar eclipse in Virgo. It is opposing Saturn, which brings a more sobering or serious tone. Remember, we just had the sun conjunct Saturn, and that will be true during this eclipse as well. But again, Saturn can also solidify something. We can come to an agreement with somebody. A total lunar eclipse is associated with endings, release, and clearing the past. But it's also associated with sometimes a full circle graduation moment or manifestation. This is a south node eclipse, however, and south node eclipses tend to be where we are letting something go, or at least we are releasing the shadow aspect of, in this case, Virgo, which is perfectionism. I have to do it just right. Virgo is so diligent and so sincere and so like, I'm gonna just make this so pretty and I'm gonna make it so perfect and this is gonna be great. And the South Node is saying, to a certain extent, that's not sustainable. We have to bring our actions and our lives into more ease, flow, sustainability, because we are not machines. We are not human doings. We are human beings. We have limitations. We only have so much energy. You get the idea. This eclipse is Mercury ruled, and so it's quite auspicious and synchronistic that the day after this eclipse, Mercury is going to shift into retrograde motion. What does this mean? You tell me. We don't yet know the whole story. But we do know that because this eclipse is ruled by Mercury and Mercury is turning retrograde, we are doing probably quite a bit of inner reflection on what is our story? What's our internal story? Are we projecting to the divine what we desire to experience? And on a subconscious level, do we believe that we can have what we most want? In my video on the Pisces new moon, which happened 2 weeks before this eclipse, and this eclipse is really a mini culmination of that Pisces new moon, I talked about the movie of your life and how it is time to create a new movie scene. If you were to go into the movie theater right now and sit down and see on the screen, this is a movie of you, this is a movie of your next chapter, what would be your next scene? This is a beautiful exercise for this month of March, and especially around this eclipse time. And yes, eclipses often bring fated moments, especially a South Node eclipse, karmic situations that are going to happen no matter what we do. They're going to happen. It's part of the flow of our life's trajectory. That is true as well. This is an important eclipse for you. You have planets or points around 23 degrees in Pisces or in Virgo or in any of the mutable signs. So that would be 18 to say 28 degrees of the mutable signs. On March 14th, Mercury will shift into retrograde motion in Aries and then later in Pisces. Most of this month, until the very last day of the month, Mercury will be retrograde in Aries. And isn't it kind of wild that both Venus and Mercury are retrograding in almost the exact same territory? I'm going to give you the degrees in a moment, but the fact that they're retrograding in the same sign, very close to the same degrees, tells us that the universe really wants us to rewire our thinking, especially about what we deserve, our self-worth, our deserving. This whole month is really preparing us, and into the beginning of April as well, we're really being prepared, invited to do a deeper dive into our own sense of deserving, opening up to receive more, self-love. It's amazing that we could keep taking our own level of self-love to a deeper and deeper level, but in my experience, we can. And in Aries energy, it's about being bold and brave and saying yes to your heart. It is the Fool in the tarot deck. It is the readiness to say yes to a brand new beginning and to trust yourself, to trust your heart, to trust your inspiration, to trust the spark of aliveness within you. Mercury retrogrades can be incredibly annoying. I want to admit that right out of the gate, but what I also know is true is that there's always a gift of clarity that comes from a Mercury retrograde. This one will be no exception. As we all say, expect delays and give yourself extra time. Do your best to ride with the tide. Aries can give us, especially a Mercury retrograde in Aries, we can feel a real sense of urgency. Oh my gosh, I have to hurry up with this. Oh my gosh, I'm late. Oh my gosh, I'm behind. It's too late. Da 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 da. The mind can be a bad neighborhood, right? But the truth is, there is a divine flow to each and every one of our lives, and Mercury can put us, as well as any retrograde, into that flow if we let it. As always, I don't encourage signing contracts, making big purchases unless you can return whatever you're purchasing. You keep the receipt. And the reason I say this is in my own experience with Mercury retrogrades, we often don't see the full story. We don't see the whole picture until after the retrograde. New information often comes to light. And of course, what you have to do, and always follow your intuition first and foremost. So who will most feel this Mercury retrograde? In Aries specifically, the retrograde begins at 9 degrees. So those of you who have planets or points in the cardinal signs, Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn between 0 and 9 degrees, you will feel this most intensely, most personally. And then when Mercury retrogrades into Pisces, which is not till the very end of the month, those of you who have planets or points between 26 and 29 degrees of Pisces or the other mutable signs of Virgo, Gemini, or Sagittarius, you will also feel this energy more intensely. On March 19th, the Sun in Pisces will make a conjunction to Neptune in Pisces at the very last degree of 29 for the very last time in our lifetimes. This is a big deal. Why? Because 29 degrees is an anaretic degree. There's an intensity to 29 degrees of Neptune because it's as though our souls want to finish out this energy. And 29 reduces to 11, which is a spiritual master number, which means that our souls are wanting to gain mastery, especially in our emotional realms, and that's usually not easy. What else can you expect from a Sun conjunct Neptune? A Neptune cazimi, as we call this. It will activate your intuition. You might have deep, intense dreams. You may go into fantasy. You may go into another timeline or another realm. You could, quote unquote, jump timelines during this activation. A day before, a day after. Your dreams could be, you could have new creative dreams. Your creativity could really blossom and come alive. You may have a new awareness of your soul, divine love. You may feel extra psychic. You may feel your consciousness elevating. You could have one of those experiences, as people talk about, where they feel the oneness of all life. They suddenly feel like everything, they're connected to everything and everything is fully alive. You could feel like you are finishing up a life lesson, a soul lesson. You could get a burst of clarity or an epiphany. The Pisces-Virgo axis is a healing axis. So Neptune will be at 29 degrees of Pisces almost the whole month. This month, you could feel like you're healing something physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. You could feel like you are sort of forced or pushed into focusing on something, prioritizing something, and that you have put off until now. And if that is the case, I want to encourage everybody to have a lot of compassion for themselves, because a lot of us weren't ready earlier, or we would have faced something that we now have to face. Forgive yourself, knowing that you have always done the very best that you could with the resources, with the awareness that you had. Try to go slowly. Try to take it one step at a time. Try not to be too impatient, which is not easy with both Mercury and Venus in Aries. We are much less patient in Aries energy. Give it time. It's all about progress, not perfection. And big picture, what we want to remember is that we are preparing for a whole new era with Neptune moving into Aries, which is happening on the 30th of this month, which I'm going to get to in a moment. We are preparing for a whole new era. Neptune, just like Pluto, Neptune happens in eras. The transits are quite long. Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011. So it's about 15 years, and we haven't had this cycle of Neptune and Aries for 165 years. So this is a big deal. Who is more likely to feel the intensity of Neptune at 29 degrees? Those of you who have planets or points between 26 to 29 degrees of the mutable signs of Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, or Sag, you may feel this more intensely. You may definitely feel more sensitive. And then those of you who have planets or points in the cardinal signs 0 to 3 degrees of Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn, because Neptune is about to move into Aries. You will also potentially feel this month more intensely, more personally. On March 20th, the sun enters Aries. I'm excited. I'm excited about this transit. Why? Because spring is springing. That is why. If you are in the Northern Hemisphere, we're going to have 2 days later, we're going to have the spring equinox. And I know those of you who are in the Southern Hemisphere, it's the autumn equinox. I don't want to leave you out. But hopefully we will all, regardless of where we are, feel a sense of new life wanting to be birthed within us. After all, Aries begins a new season. Aries is the beginning of the astrological year. It is a new day energy, like the sun coming out on our life. And not only this, but when the sun in Aries first comes online, so to speak, when the sun first enters Aries, in other words, it is at 0 degrees. And 0 degrees is the Aries point, and this is a world axis point. It is considered the beginning of a new cycle. We experience this every year. Every year we have a brand new cycle. Aries begins a season. We know this energy, and it symbolizes rebirth, new beginnings, fresh starts, seeing with new eyes, feeling like we can be new again. We can feel rebirth. We can reinvent ourselves. We can say yes to a new inspiration. We can take a risk. That's Aries energy. Also on March 22nd, we're going to have Venus retrograde coming together with the sun as well, a Venus cazimi. This is going to amplify our power to bring greater love to ourselves and to others. And you may get enhanced clarity in matters of love, finances, beauty, pleasure, and so on. On March 24th, we're going to have a Mercury retrograde cazimi in Aries. Again, this is a time that we can get more clarity. Now, when it's a Mercury retrograde conjunction to the sun, Mercury, the divine messenger, is between the earth and the sun. We call this an inferior conjunction. I know I'm getting really technical with you. Just let it go if it's too much. On a practical level, this can mean we get deeply personal insights that can shift our perceptions in powerful, positive ways. This is also a great time to channel your divine wisdom, to do automatic writing, to meditate, to pray, to ask the divine for answers. And on March 27th, Venus will retrograde into Pisces and make a conjunction to Neptune. So you can see how Neptune is being activated numerous times this month. And Venus retrograde coming together with Neptune, Venus, Neptune, that is a recipe for being smitten on the first hello. Oh my gosh, where have you been all my life? Let's get married. So Venus, Neptune can be a karmic connection. It is the definition of love is blind. And I'm not talking about the Netflix show. It is such a dreamy energy. We are so prone to project onto situations, people, events, our own ideal of the perfect dreamy thing. So if that's happening for you, I always encourage you to go slow. Don't attach if you can possibly not attach. We will merge with the situation, the person, whatever. We will merge. We do that unconsciously in Pisces energy. But if you don't want to feel, and I'm not saying everyone is going to feel let down. I mean, this is a time for karmic connections for sure, for karmic fated meetings for sure. But if you don't want to potentially, let's say, feel like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? If you don't want to do that, well, you weren't thinking. That's the deal. But if you don't want to go through that, then if you can take it slow and you can be aware, this is what I love about astrology, right? You can be aware that Venus and Neptune are conjunct and Venus is retrograde. This is a great time to enjoy a great movie, to just get into whatever inspires you. Go for a beach walk for sure if you're near the ocean, if you're lucky enough to be near water. Do a vision board making session. Yes, beautiful for making love for sure. But also keep in mind, we still don't know the whole story. 2 days later, on March 29th, we have a new beginnings partial solar eclipse in Aries. This is a North Node eclipse. That means we are moving toward our destiny during this eclipse. We are invited to, we are inspired to. And of course, Aries energy is just say yes, take a risk. Follow your heart. This is the very last eclipse that we're going to have on the Aries-Libra axis until 2032. It is the very last one in pioneering Aries. Of course, I will do a separate video for you on both of the eclipses for this month, but this eclipse wants to fire you up with a new vision. It wants you to, well, none of us are going to go back to our old selves. It's just not going to happen. It's impossible. Pluto's in Aquarius. We're on to a new era. Neptune is moving into Aries the next day after this eclipse. The old identity is gone. It's gone. It's time to let it go. The old life, the old story, the old you. It's time for the new you to get some airtime. And it is that very next day after this eclipse that Neptune leaves Pisces and enters Aries at the 0 point, the 0 point being a world axis point. It is collectively beginning a brand new global cycle. But for each of us individually, what does this mean? 0 degrees, it's aneretic, it is critical, it means the world is your oyster, it means that you can open up to everything is possible within the 0. It's a brand new beginning, bringing beginner's mind to whatever is lighting you up, allowing yourself to be that fool. In other words, not to be so much in your head that you say no to something just because you don't know the how yet. We can't possibly know the how because this is a North Node eclipse, which is new territory. Our souls haven't been here before. We have to be willing to venture out on a new path. If not now, when? Aries is independent. Aries is freedom loving. Aries follows its heart. Aries says, say yes to your soul's calling. I will do a separate video for you on this eclipse, but it is happening at 9 degrees of Aries. So those of you who have planets or points between 4 and 14 degrees of Aries or the other cardinal signs of Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn, you will feel this eclipse most intensely, most personally. And those of you who have planets or points between 0 and 2, maybe 0 and 3 degrees of Aries or the cardinal signs of Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn, you will feel this ingress of Neptune at least until October 22nd when it moves back into Pisces. It will be back into Pisces until January 26th. And then it will come back into Aries. So those of you with planets or points in these very early degrees of Aries or the other cardinal signs, you are more likely to feel the energy in 2025, especially 0 to 1 degrees for sure. Okay, my beautiful friend, let us do the 12 sign readings now. Listen to your rising sign. Your rising sign is the area of life and the area of your natal chart in which you will be experiencing these March transits. You can also listen to your sun sign and your moon sign for further themes and intuitive messages. And of course, you will get further messages from the cards as well. So we're going to start with Aries because beautiful Aries, this is your birthday season. Happy, happy birthday, beautiful Aries. Aries. You are going to start your month with a Venus retrograde in your sign. I know, wah, wah, it can feel that way. However, big picture, and I know this isn't easy for our human selves to do, but big picture for you, this is a needed reset, either in love and relationships or in beauty or in your finances. Really what I see for you, Aries, because this is happening in your first house of the self, your I am identity, I feel that a number of you, and also the first house is your appearance, I feel that a number of you are shifting your identity in some way. You are wanting to reinvent yourself. You are wanting to maybe do something that is more meaningful and fulfilling to your heart work-wise. You are questioning a relationship, or someone that you're in relationship with is questioning. Or maybe you have sort of a quick romance that comes in and goes quickly, but it shows you something about you that you needed to see, something about your own, something that is pulling you into a deeper level of self-love. Sometimes we find that, we end up with somebody briefly, but we learn more than we've ever learned from a longer relationship. That can happen. In my Venus retrograde video, which I encourage you to watch if you haven't yet, because I do a much deeper dive, I talk about a romance that I had that was very, very quick, but boy, was that a turning point romance for me in terms of my soul lessons. And I will never forget it for that reason. I really got incredibly empowered from that. So you may be changing a role. You may be changing a role in your family life, in your relationship, like with a significant other, or in your work life. changing, it could happen in a lot of different ways. So of course, this is general. It's different for everyone. I would have a lot more details and information to share based on your chart if I were reading your chart. What's important to know for this retrograde for you, Aries, is that most of this month, it will be in your sign. So give yourself lots of compassion and care and patience, and know that this is not going to last forever. The Venus retrograde total will last until April 12th. March 27th, it will move into Pisces. And when it does, it will be in your 12th house. And this is when you may take a deeper dive, because it's the 12th house of rest and retreat. And the 12th house, my words, the 12th house is where we often get those epiphanies and those revelations. So something could come to light for you that you didn't see during the first part of the retrograde that takes you into a deeper place of self-reflection. Also, you could see, sometimes we have those moments where we come bursting. This is metaphor, obviously, but like where we feel like we come bursting out of the water, like we've been underwater. We've been in mermaid or merman land, 12th house. We've been in illusion. We've been in fantasy. And then we wake up to a reality that we didn't see before. And yet we feel like, ah, thank goodness, I see the light now. I see the light now. The Venus retrograde in Pisces is wanting us to just say no to self-sacrifice, to self-abandoning. And the Venus retrograde in Aries, I think, is more about an identity. Although I have to say that some of you, because it's your first house, you may be thinking about your physical beauty, and this is not a good time to do any sort of beauty treatment. I highly discourage that, because often those things just don't turn out the way you want them to. And even buying clothes sometimes, obviously clothes are most of the time easily returnable. Like anything that can be redone, your hair and so forth, we all can make a choice about that. But just knowing that it's a Venus retrograde, in my experience, we're less likely to be happy with anything that we do during this time. On March 13th, Pacific time, we are going to have a total lunar eclipse in Virgo. That total lunar eclipse is the releasing, letting go eclipse. It's happening for you in your 6th house of your health, your habits, your overall optimal health and wellness, also like exercise routines and working out and so forth, and your daily work. So this is an important eclipse for you, having to do with your health or your daily life, your schedules, your routines, your lifestyle. Is that working for you? Is there a toxic work environment that is asking you to say goodbye to it? This eclipse happens on the 6th and 12th house axis. I will do a separate video for everyone on this eclipse with a deeper dive. But this axis is the healing axis. And the sun will be in the 12th house for you. So that's going to illuminate most likely something for you that will bring you into greater harmony on every level of your health, emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual even as well. This could be a very spiritual eclipse for you. You could have quite a wonderful reconnection or connection with the divine around this eclipse time. Aries, on the 14th, Mercury will retrograde in your sign. I know, both Venus and Mercury retrograde in your sign, and this is almost the whole month for you, because it won't move into Pisces until the very last day of the month. But you're getting a redo here. You're getting you're being remade, Aries, I feel. I feel that you are being remade. I feel like you're getting an inner makeover. And inner makeovers, the good news is they make us look younger than ever when we're done. Not to, I don't want to elevate youth. It's elevated in our culture. But, we often, new light begins to shine from our eyes. Let's say that, after we go through 2 retrogrades like this. All the planets and points and who that will most affect is in part 1 of this video. When Venus does retrograde into Pisces, which is until the very end of the month, that will be in your 12th house. Like I was saying before with Mercury retrograde, the 12th house will take you into a deeper connection with you. You may rewire your subconscious mind this month. You may get more rest. You definitely give yourself more rest if you need it, Aries, but also I think you're going to emerge from this month with a new story of victory and success, a new inner narrative. That's would be really perfectly in alignment with this month for you. One in which you are valuing and seeing your true nature, your true strengths, your gifts, and so forth. Aries, on March 20th, your season begins. Very exciting. This is one of the most exciting Aries seasons ever with Neptune moving into your sign. I mean, this is off the charts epic for you, Aries. I love this so much. March 29th, you will have a solar eclipse in your sign. It's in your first house of identity, reinvention, a new you, a new vision, new roles, letting go of roles, saying yes. This is a North Node eclipse. It is brand new. Say yes to your heart. It's a partial eclipse. So it may not be as intense as some other eclipses, but that's okay because we're going to get enough intensity from Neptune entering Aries on March 30th in your sign. This is rebirth, Aries. This is a new day, a new life, a new sense of rebirth for you. Very, very exciting, especially if you have planets or points in the first 0 to 1 degrees. And some of you, if you're highly, highly sensitive, could feel it if you've got planets or points in Aries or the other cardinal signs 0 to 3 degrees. And next year for sure, it will move on, obviously. And I will do a separate video for everyone. I do have one video out right now on Neptune and Aries and Neptune and Saturn in Aries, and I will do updated ones in the near future as well. Aries, let me get a card for you. Beautiful Aries. In case I didn't, I think I sang happy birthday to you. Okay, Aries, your card is breaking trail. Yes, yes, yes. Aries, a breakthrough is at hand. A breakthrough is at hand. You are, what is the phrase? I can't think of the phrase now. You are creating new territory. That is what this is all about this month. And with an eclipse in your sign, the very last eclipse in your sign until 2032, Aries. You are breaking trail. Very, very exciting. If you want to claim this in the comments below, let us know. I would love to hear. Pisces, hello, beautiful Pisces. Pisces, you will begin the month with a Venus retrograde in Aries and in your sign. It's not going to retrograde into your sign until March 27th. So most of this month, Venus will retrograde for you in Aries in your second house of earned income, self-love, self-worth, and deserving. Your values. This is a month to realign if you feel out of alignment with your values, if you feel out of alignment, if you're not feeling materially secure, if you're not feeling like you're making enough money, if you're not feeling like you deserve every ounce of what your heart most desires, this is a month to change that, to work on that inner self-worth, self-love. March 27th, Venus will retrograde into your sign, and this will be in your first house of identity, roles, vitality, and appearance. Not the best time to do plastic surgery or any kind of work on your physical appearance unless you want to experiment. It's often an experiment, and you can redo it. Like we can redo hair color, right? We can redo we can take back clothes that we buy that we end up not liking, all that kind of stuff. You get the idea. On the 13th, Pisces, Pacific time, March 13th, there will be a lunar eclipse in Virgo. And this is important for you because it's opposite your sign. It's happening in your 7th house of partnerships. And you may feel this as closure to a relationship or to a relationship pattern, a relationship dynamic. You may feel this as a karmic ending, or you could feel, get a real awareness, a strong epiphany that you have been in some way, that you've had some unhealthy relationship pattern. I mean, who among us has not? Like, who among us, if you're on a spiritual path, most likely it's part of your growth trajectory as a soul. But this is an important eclipse for you, especially if you have planets or points around 23 degrees in your sign, Pisces, or in Virgo, or in any of the mutable signs. That would be 18 to say 28 degrees of your sign or the other mutable signs. On March 20th, Aries season begins. This is the time of spring and rebirth. And this is happening for you in your second house. Again, like the Venus retrograde, it's happening in your second house of earned income, values, self-love, self-worth, material security. So this is a big month for you to be tuning into, are your needs getting met in these areas? Is it time to do an inner makeover on your sense of deserving? Pisces, Mercury will retrograde in Aries, also in the second house. Mercury will retrograde then into Pisces, your sign, at the very, very end of the month, the last day of the month. And this will be a Mercury retrograde where your thoughts, your communication are focused on perhaps a new identity, your current identity, a role that you have, personal or professional, a status that you have in relationship, where you are going back over, you are doing a deep dive into your heart and soul to get clarity. Mercury retrogrades are for clarity, to get clarity on, do I want to continue in this way? You could also feel this in your sense of vitality, your appearance. And this is where Venus is retrograding too at the very end of the month. Well, that one is March 27th. So, you know, when it's in your sign, when it's in our sign, we tend to feel it more personally, more intensely. If you have planets or points in the degrees that it's happening, which I talk about in part 1 of this video. March 29th, Pisces, we have a solar eclipse in Aries, and this is a new vision eclipse. It's a North Node eclipse. It is happening in your second house of material security. So you get the idea. There is this running theme throughout the month. And at the very end of the month, it's like, okay, I have a new vision now. I want to make more money, or I want to retire, or I want, you know, I can get money doing this, or I can do a side gig, or I'm working on my, I need a breath. I'm working on my own sense of self-love, or I'm working to align my life with my values. This eclipse, especially because on the 30th of March, Neptune enters Aries. This eclipse is really wanting us to align what we know is true in our heart of hearts on a practical level with our decision making, especially decision making that has to do with material security, money, sometimes sharing money with others, decisions that we're making around money. And that can have to do with purchases that we're making, possessions we might want to sell. By the way, Mercury retrograde is a great time to sell things, as long as you get what you want for it. And that Neptune in Aries is saying, entering Aries is saying, it's time for a new horizon in this house of second house, your second house of you valuing yourself. It's time for a new horizon, a new adventure. Some of you are going to want to do, like, really work on investments, I'm guessing, because this is the financial axis as well. Some of you may want to purchase a home, or you may get really excited and fired up creatively about starting something that's going to bring you more money, whether it's a business or something else. Or maybe you are going to ask for a promotion. Maybe you are going to, some of you could go back to something that you did before that made you more money. That's possible too. Or maybe you're not as focused on money and you're more focused about aligning your life with your own values. That includes doing something that brings you a lot of meaning and fulfillment. Different for all of you, but let's see what the cards have to say. Beautiful Pisces. Pisces, this is a big deal having Neptune leave your sign. It will come back into your sign at October 22nd through January 26th of 2026. And then it will leave your sign for good. Pisces, especially with Saturn here, Neptune here, you guys have been through it. You really have. You really have. I just want to give you a lot of kudos and accolades and compassion for what you've gone through. And now with the lunar nodes in your sign, this is a turning point year for most of you. It really is. Watch my video on the nodes of the moon in your sign if you haven't watched it yet, because it's a big deal to have the nodes of the moon. in your sign, Pisces, and the timing for when you'll feel that will depend on the timing of the nodes and your particular degrees of your sun, rising, anything you have in your sign, and or Virgo. Okay, so Pisces, let's pull a card for you now. Pisces. Pisces, your card is, oh yeah, wondrous universe. I know I'm totally off tune. I get that. It's not about that. It's about soul expression. Wondrous universe, walk in beauty. Pisces, you are all about beauty. You are artistic. You have the most amazing imagination. You co-create with the divine. Most of you have the awareness that you are divine. I love this card for you so much. You are a wizard. You are the magician. You are the alchemist. Anything that comes up during these retrogrades, you will alchemize, dross into gold. If you want to claim that you are in and of yourself a wondrous universe, beautiful Pisces, let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Aquarius, Aquarius, beautiful Aquarius. On March 1st, the Venus retrograde is happening in your third house in Aries. It begins in Aries. It's in Aries most of the month. It doesn't retrograde back into Pisces until March 27th. So most of this month, you are going to be doing some sort of reflection, Venus retrograde, on your mindset. Perhaps your inner story, your inner narrative, what you're capable of creating or receiving. This is also the house, I call it the house of moving and shaking. It's where we make transactions and purchases. It's where we take short trips. It is Mercury ruled, and it is the house of siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, landlords, neighbors, your hood. Also where you hang out with people, you meet up with people, you go do regular things. And now someone's honking. I don't know what that honking means. I always think that when I get these sounds in the background, there's something, maybe someone's going, yeah, where you hang out, pay attention to that. This is the house of freelancing. It's messages that we put out into the world. It's our writings, our blogs, and our growth and our learning. So all of that is up for a review, reflection for you around, this whole month of March, basically, and into April, which will be the Pisces part of the retrograde. When Venus retrogrades back into Pisces, it will be in your second house, again, not till March 27th, your second house of material security, values, and self-love. And that's when you would be reflecting on those kinds of things, or something that comes up in a relationship may have you looking at your material security. And am I making enough money? Am I happy with my finances? Do I feel like I know that I deserve what I want? You get the idea. Aligning your life with your values. That is a theme for this month, for especially at the end of the month. Aquarius. Now, on March 13th, Pacific time, we will have the lunar eclipse in Virgo, a full moon lunar eclipse on the Pisces Virgo axis. And this is happening in your 8th house of power and control. So this is the house of where we have emotional attachments. These are our intimate relationships in which we share which we share resources, assets, money, time, energy. Real estate is here too. Our investments are here, our loans and our taxes. It's the house of death and rebirth and transformation. It is a powerful, powerful place to have an eclipse. So if you have planets or points around 23 degrees, a few on either side, let's say 18 to 28 degrees, you are going to feel this eclipse more intensely. And you could be releasing a power struggle with someone. You could be releasing something, a relationship. You could be splitting up assets. You could be, this is an eclipse. It's a lunar eclipse. So it's an eclipse of closures, endings, releasing a dynamic, perhaps a relationship dynamic that has made you feel powerless in some way. This can also be a completion or a manifestation, something coming together for you. It is on the 2nd and 8th house axis, which is a financial axis, and it brings up a sense of, do I deserve what I want? It brings up self-reliance, especially on a financial level, but also emotional. It can be emotional as well. Aquarius, on the 14th, this is when Mercury is going to shift into retrograde motion in Aries, and it's happening in the same place in your chart where the Venus retrograde is, which is your third house of your local environment, your community, your messaging, freelance work. So apply everything I said about the Venus retrograde to the Mercury retrograde with both retrogrades here. That just amplifies the energy that much more with these themes for you of, what do I want my local life to be like? And some of you might want to move locations. Some of you may just have more come up in interactions with people in your local environment, such as neighbors or a landlord or somebody that you meet when you're out and about could also bring something up for you. Venus and Mercury retrograde, there will definitely be some karmic and fated meetings. There will definitely be people having flings, I would say, during this time, or starting relationships. And I always encourage everyone to go slowly, especially when we know that Venus and Mercury are retrograde, because retrograde motion means that often those things are meant for our learning and growth, but they don't necessarily last. And I know we all have different values when it comes to those kinds of situations. So I will not put my values on yours, but I am highly, highly sensitive, and the fling thing, and just can't do that. Okay, so, and of course, Mercury will retrograde at the very end of the month in Pisces in your second house as well, just like Venus is doing. So on March 20th, that's when the sun enters Aries, Aquarius. You know what I love about this for you is that Aries energy makes a sextile to your energy. It's your air to an Aries fire in your air. And so the flames of desire and joy, and I don't just necessarily mean sexual desire, actually this is happening for you in your third house. So let's say the flames for some of you are going to ignite in areas of more of like learning and growth. It could be you teaching, publishing, or writing. It could be you creating a website. It could be you working on your own business. It could have to do with a relationship with siblings, neighbors, or someone that's close to you in your local area. This energy is going to be super amplified for you as soon as the sun enters Aries throughout the month, because after that we have the solar eclipse here. You're getting a brand new beginnings eclipse in the third house. Sometimes when we have a third house eclipse, so remember this is a Mercury house, the third house, our mind is going rapidly, our mind is fired up, you could feel quite inspired, and often it's around a message that we want to share with other people. If it's not a message, it could be, I want to do this thing, I have this new creative project, or I'm definitely going to like change up my daily routine in my local area. I'm going to start going here. I'm not going to go there anymore. I'm going to work out here. I'm going to, you get the idea. Like the third house tends to be where we want to make some sort of improvement. And it's definitely the house of the story that we tell on an inner level. So we want to make sure our story is fully aligned with what our heart most wants to co-create. And then on March 30th, Neptune will enter Aries. And this is the new era beginning, the new global era beginning on a collective level. And for each of us individually, it's the 0 point of Aries, which will really ignite some of us with new inspiration. Which is great news, right, Aquarius? And again, you're getting a sextile from this Aries energy. Each of these Aries transits will make a sextile. What does this mean? What does this mean? It means an opportunity, often an opportunity. We have to take some initiative with sextiles. We have to see a need. But once we see the need, often it's something that we feel like we want to improve or solve or take care of. Or invent. Aquarius, you're very inventive, you're progressive, you're super creative, you are known for your genius. So, and again, this third house is a mercurial house, and that's, Mercury is air energy and your air energy. So that's really cool. Lots of simpatico here for you. So what is your let's say this, I'm not even going to ask you, I'm not going to put pressure on you right now, Aquarius, and ask you what your new vision is or your new dream. If you know what it is and you want to leave us a comment and tell us. But I think that because it's your third house, some of you may want to buy a car. I mean, it's that simple. It could be you want a new device, especially if you're not like your degrees of your energy is not really close to this eclipse. Not everyone is going to be personally impacted by these eclipses or by Neptune entering Aries. Some people will just be fired up to improve their local environment or get a new device or get a new car. I was shuffling and a card flipped over. So this is your card, Aquarius, and it says you are overcoming obstacles. You can overcome anything. Aquarius, Pluto is in your sign. Some of you are feeling Pluto in your sign in probably very intense ways, and that may not be easy. What I love about this card is this juicy peach representing abundance and all of the green. This is like the abundance of nature. It's like the abundance is right there for you. And with this sword, you are cutting ties, especially the air energy of swords, right? That's you, the air. You are cutting ties to obstacles. You're cutting away the things that haven't worked for you. And the encouragement that you can overcome anything. I know, Aquarius, that sometimes we feel afraid that something's difficult's going to last forever, or that we can't come back from something. And this card is saying you will come back from it. You will overcome, and your life is changing in powerful, positive ways. So if you want to claim that you're overcoming something, if you relate to that, let us know in the comments below. We would love to hear. Capricorn. Hello, beautiful Capricorn. Capricorn, on March 1st, Venus will retrograde into Aries in your 4th house of home, family, childhood conditioning, your sense of rootedness, your sense of belonging. This is an important transit for you because you're getting a square, and squares always tell us that there is something that we are meant to take action on. They bring tension and pressure so that we will wake up if we need to, we will pay attention, we will take some action that is needed. So I believe that Venus retrograde in your 4th house may take you back to a childhood conditioning kind of issue. It may make you realize you want to change your home in some way. Some of you may want to move. You may have something come up with a family member. You are being asked this month especially to really focus on the 4th house, which can also be ancestral healing for some of you. Venus will retrograde back into your 3rd house when it goes into Pisces. That's not until March 27th. And I do have a separate video for you on the Venus retrograde where I go much deeper. But when it does retrograde, it will into Pisces, March 27th, it will go into your 3rd house and it will make a sextile to your energy. And that is a much easier flow for a retrograde transit. And this is your 3rd house of your local area, your neighborhood, also where you do your business, where you work out, go to yoga class, take your walks, whatever you do on a regular basis. It's also the house of your communication, your mindset, your inner narrative. That may be up for change and review to make that more self-loving, to raise the vibration of your inner voice, that talking that we all have going on almost 24/7. Capricorn, you may be shifting that as well. Also, some of you will perhaps work on a relationship in some way, or possibly take a break from a relationship if it's with a sibling, aunt, uncle, cousin, or neighbor, or just someone in your local environment. This is the house of moving and shaking. A Venus retrograde here, you could meet somebody karmic or fated in your local area, whether it's a friend or a romantic person or anybody that is showing up as God in drag, as we say, to wake you up to something that is going to mature you on your path, beautiful Capricorn. And I know Capricorns are already quite mature. I get that. You are Saturn ruled, and Saturn made most of you had to be quite responsible when you were very young. That's a Capricorn energy signature. Not all of you will relate to that, but that's often the case for Capricorn Sun, Capricorn Rising, Capricorn Moon. Now, on March 13th, Pacific time, You will experience the lunar eclipse in Virgo in your 9th house. It will be on your 3rd and 9th house axis. The sun will be in the 3rd. The moon will be in the 9th house. And this is the house of new horizons, new adventures. You're getting a trine from this lunar eclipse in Virgo, which means it will be easier to oh my gosh, it sounded like the needle stuck. Oh my goodness. Okay. You are getting a trine. We'll try this one more time. Mercury retrograde. I'm already feeling it. And we still have a couple more weeks to go from when this video goes live. This lunar eclipse will trine your energy in the 9th house, which is the house of adventure, long distance travel, higher learning, the house of your spiritual beliefs, and also publishing, teaching, and presenting. It is the house of new horizons. It's a beautiful, beautiful house. It's where we have our current philosophy, our current perceptions and beliefs about ourselves and about life. And so some of you, Capricorn, could be deciding to move to another country, or you could be releasing something that had to do with, a phase of your life that had to do with foreign travel, or you could be taking on a new learning program, graduating from a program, graduating from a degree program, or some sort of certification program. Whatever it is, the 9th house is where we often have a deep reflection, especially with the lunar eclipse, on sort of where am I now? And some of you may want to study astrology because that's also anything metaphysical in 9th house. But remember that eclipse is really about wrapping something up for a lot of us, or it could be a full circle manifestation. It could be that as well. On the 14th, Mercury will retrograde in Aries, just like the Venus retrograde in Aries. It will then retrograde into Pisces on the very last day of the month into the 3rd house. So everything I said about the Venus retrograde applies to the Mercury retrograde. And on March 20th, the sun is going to enter Aries. And Capricorn, Aries energy makes a square to your energy, and that means you could feel some tension or pressure around a decision, or around, you could just have a heavy load during this time, workload, or a lot of responsibilities and commitments around this time. But on March 29th, we have the solar eclipse in Aries, and this is new beginnings in your 4th house of home and family. Just because it's a square doesn't mean that it's difficult. It just sometimes means that we feel fired up about it. We feel like, okay, I'm going to make a change in my home life. I'm going to do some inner child healing. I'm going to do some ancestral healing. I'm going to commit to something. Capricorn, that's you. You have no problems making a commitment to something that really is important to you and matters to you. But it often carries more weightiness when it's a square. This is an eclipse that is asking us to allow ourselves to go into a rebirth, to start fresh, to see with new eyes, especially to see ourselves with new eyes. So the 4th house is our roots and our sense of belonging, and you could be really deciding where you feel like you belong. That could be part of this too, Capricorn. Neptune will enter Aries on the 30th of the month. That's a new vision, new life, new you in your 4th house of home, family, childhood, conditioning. So I think some of you will heal a relationship with a family member, or you may take space from a family member. You may feel like our soul contract is complete. That's not easy to do, but you may just feel like it is time. It is time to focus on you. It is time to focus on your heart and what you know is your soul's path, your soul's trajectory going forward. You are on a soul level wanting to really put your roots down deeper into the earth, find more security within yourself, find more security based on your gifts, your talents, who you are, versus sort of the practical reality of life, which is not easy to do. I know, Capricorn. And this could, ultimately this could just be, I'm moving, or I'm going to build a house somewhere, or I'm going to go get off grid. I'm going to, obviously very, very different for all of you. But outer home, inner home, family, very much, and your inner child very much at the center of your focus for this month. Let us pull a card for you, Capricorn. and see what the cards have to say. I had another person in the last video tell me not to sing, and I almost wanted to say, you know what? I don't think I'm your person. I don't think I'm your community. Because you know what? I'm all about giving everyone permission to express freely, like the birds. The birds sing. Why do humans think they can't sing? That to me is just, that's our conditioning. Okay, let me pull a card now. Capricorn. Transformation, a fresh new way of living emerges. Wow, wow, wow. Capricorn, you are the phoenix rising from the ashes. This card speaks for itself. You are rising above, soaring freely. If you want to claim the message of this card and you're ready to claim your fresh new way of living, let us know in the comments below. I absolutely love this for you. Sagittarius, Sagittarius, beautiful Sagittarius. Beautiful Sag. On March 1st, Venus is retrograding in Aries in your 5th house of love, romance, unbridled, free, creative expression, and children. This Venus retrograde could have you reflecting on love in your life, on dating, or on a particular relationship, on parenting, on a creative project, or on just your inspiration creatively. What I love about this transit for you is it's making a trine to your energy. When the energy trines our energy, the retrograde is often much more easeful. The retrograde of Venus will continue into Pisces towards the end of the month on March 27th. That will be in your 4th house of home, family, and childhood conditioning, your house of roots and belonging. That, unlike the trine to Aries, this one makes a square to your energy. Because Pisces is mutable and you are mutable, and the signs, you know how that, probably how that goes. That's how it goes. All the mutable signs square each other, all the cardinal signs square each other, fixed, and so on. You get the idea. So what does this mean when we have a square in the 4th house? It means that we feel more tension or pressure or need to take an action, and that moves us forward. So squares are actually the things that help us to move forward in life. You could also get a great inspiration during this Venus retrograde. You could decide you want to move. You could decide that you're happy in your home, but you don't want that roommate to live with you anymore. You could decide that that child that lives with you, that adult child, it's time for them to move out. Or maybe you decide you want to move out, or maybe you want to build a new house, or you want to, live in another state or another country. This is also the house of family. So something could shift within your family, or you could decide to do some inner child work, some shadow work, as we call it, on your conditioning, on shedding pain from childhood. On the 13th of this month, Pacific time, you are going to experience the full moon lunar eclipse, dear Sag, in Virgo in your 10th house of career. This full moon lunar eclipse also makes a square to your energy. It actually is happening on the 4th and 10th house axis, which is the axis of career, home, and family, where we balance both. A full moon is always a time that we're in balance, doing a balancing act. We often feel them because they're oppositions between the sun and the moon. We often feel these in our relationships. But the actual moon itself is in your 10th house of career. So it will likely bring to mind themes of completion, releasing an inner reckoning around your life purpose expressed. Are you getting enough satisfaction, fulfillment from your career, or how you do your life? I know not all of you have a career. Some of you have a day job and you do something else for your passion. Some of you are retired or semi-retired. So it's different for everyone, but that is why I like to use the quote from Mary Oliver, tell me what is it that you want to do with your one wild and precious life? Because that doesn't put a label of career or, working, not working, whatever on it, right? The 10th house is where we spend most of our time. And that's what this eclipse for you is bringing to the forefront. And because it's a lunar eclipse, it is saying, and especially a South Node eclipse, we are releasing and letting go of something in Virgo energy, which the shadow of which has to do often with being too hard on ourselves, being too self-sacrificing, serving to the extent that we sometimes feel like we're in servitude rather than, filling our own cup first, as we all know by now is the way to go about it. So we're coming more into a sense, we're guided to come into more of a sense of self-love. And because the sun will be in the fourth house during this eclipse, you could feel it in your home or family and make a decision to sell a house, move, end a lease, whatever. Laughing at myself there. Okay, March 14th, Mercury will retrograde in the same place that it's retrograding, that Venus is retrograding. So everything I said about the Venus retrograde, where it begins in your fifth house of love, romance, relationships, and children, that is true. That is also true for this Mercury retrograde. It's happening in Aries, and it will trine your energy, making this a less annoying Mercury retrograde for you, most likely Sag. When Mercury retrogrades into Pisces, which won't be till the very last day of this month of March, it will retrograde into your fourth house, and that's when you will get the square, and that's where there could be more tension or pressure around home and family matters. But you could be doing some really important inner child healing work around this time that is freeing and liberating you and really increasing your own sense of self-love and deserving. So that's quite beautiful. On the 20th of the month, we enter Aries season. The sun will enter your fifth house of fun and adventure. I forgot to say fun adventure too for the fifth house, also the house of freedom. And this, of course, makes a trine, just like the other transits I talked about, makes a trine because it's Aries energy, it's your fifth house. And this is also where we're going to have the solar eclipse. So how cool is this? We're going to have the solar eclipse in Aries, and you will experience it there in your fifth house. So what is your new dream, Sag? You will get closer and closer to this month, I believe. Your new dream or vision will have to do most likely with parenting, with children. Some of you may want to have a child. Some of you may want to spend more time with a child. Some of you may want to birth a creative child. And others of you, because it is a birthing energy, others of you may be really ready for love and romance, a new love and romance, or saying goodbye to a current romantic partner and starting fresh, or maybe romancing your own soul, which is one thing I talk about in my book, The Magic of Saying Yes. I talk about creating a beautiful, deep connection with your own soul, your own spirit. Okay, so I think your creativity is going to be off the charts this month, especially Aries season on, March 20th on. And then when Neptune goes into Aries, I love this for you, Sag. You're going to get a trine from Neptune and Aries too, right? The fire of Aries to your fire. This is really nice for you. Sag, I bet you are so ready for Pisces season to be over, only because it squares your energy, and it's just not, and also the Saturn is, for all the mutable signs, Saturn being in Pisces and Neptune being in Pisces, it hasn't been easy on your mutable energy. I know that a lot of us have energy in a lot of different areas in our chart, and that not everyone has all mutable by any means, but for those of you who have felt it in your Sag energy, this Aries energy, Aries season will be a breath of fresh air for you, and same with Neptune and Aries. So Sag, let me pull a card for you and let us see what the cards have to say for your month of March, where we are preparing for Neptune entering this fire sign to bring ourselves more alive, a new spark of possibility. And for you, Sag, that is creativity. Your fifth house, a card just fell with all that shuffling. Let's see what it is. Navigating by the stars, follow your bliss. I mean, this is the fifth house. The fifth house is your bliss. And not only this, but navigating by the stars is saying you are on a path, you are on an adventure. That's fifth house adventure. And it's okay if you don't know how to get there. The stars are showing you the way. So if you want to claim that you are following your bliss, the beautiful Sagittarius. Claim it in the comments below. Scorpio. Hello, beautiful Scorpio. Scorpio, you are going to experience right out of the gate on March 1st, Venus retrograde in your 6th house in Aries. In Aries, in your 6th house of daily work, your habits, your health routines, your working out, what you eat. It's the house of optimal health. It's the house of, am I happy with my life the way it is, my lifestyle, the way my work is? Do I like my work environment? Do I like my boss? Do I like my coworkers? Is this the way I want to do my days in and day out? And I know a lot of us have different kinds of schedules day in and day out. But the idea is like the structure of your life, and is it contributing to your health, to your energy? This is really the house of energy. That's where Venus is retrograding. So for some of you, your love of your job could somehow wane, or could show you an issue that you haven't seen before, or something could come up with a coworker or a boss that could take you into a feeling of wah. But that is only, of course, if that happens, is to show you something that you haven't seen before, something to work out within you, with another person, within your own values. Really, it comes down to our values and what's working and what's not working. Scorpio, Venus will retrograde on the 27th of March into Pisces, and that is going to be in your 5th house of love, children, romance, creative expression, giving yourself the chance to have freedom and adventure and fun and pleasure and comfort, and that energy makes a trine to your energy, so that will be a more easeful part of the retrograde for you, most likely. Although with Venus retrograding into Aries too, one thing you have in common with Aries is that you both have Mars as a ruler. I know you're co-ruled by Pluto and Mars, but Mars is very important to both you and Aries. So you may find that both of the retrogrades in both signs are not that challenging for you. On March 13th, the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo will happen in your 11th house, and this is the house of your dream. This is the house of fulfillment, the current dream of your life. It's the house of causes, the humanitarian. If you are like a social activist, it's the house of community and tribe and online connections, supporters, friendships, social media platforms, and also it is, because it's a lunar eclipse and it's a south node eclipse, something is ending or closing out for a lot of us. Not for everyone. Some people could have a full circle manifestation. You're getting a sextile. A sextile is positive, harmonious energy flow. The 11th house is the world card in the tarot. It is, the world is your oyster. What now do you want to do? Often we are receiving some sort of support from something in the 11th house. Often it is people. It could be through a platform as well. And the lunar eclipse in Virgo is saying we have to release anything that's in the shadow energy of Virgo, which is perfectionism. It can only be done this way. It's where we hold ourselves to such a high standard oftentimes that it's unattainable or it's not sustainable. It's just not sustainable. Scorpio, speaking of not breathing, more not sustainable. On March 14th, Mercury is going to retrograde in Aries in your 6th house. The same places that the retrograde is happening in Venus are happening. That's where Mercury is retrograding as well. So with both a Venus and a Mercury retrograde in your 6th house in Aries energy, this is going to be up for you this month. Like, we can't make this stuff up. The fact that we're having two personal planet I'll try that again. 2 personal planet retrogrades in the same house means that this house of your health, of your daily work, of your lifestyle, your energy, how you're using your energy, this is a very important theme for you for review, reflection, redoing, fixing something, some of you, and so forth. Then, as with the Venus retrograde, Mercury will retrograde back into Pisces in your 5th house, which is a trine to your energy, Scorpio. I know, I have to start getting silly by a certain point because these videos are quite lengthy. And, I am a human being, not a human doing. So anyway, March 20th, the sun moves into Aries, and that is the spring equinox. Well, the spring equinox happens on the 22nd, 2 days later, but that is spring coming to life. That is us, many of us getting fired up. Because you are co-ruled by Mars, as is Aries, you may feel very energized in Aries energy. And this is, this is a turning point. The equinox is always a turning point, regardless of which hemisphere you live in, whether it's spring or fall, it's still a turning point, right? It's a change of a season. We all feel this. March 29th, we have the solar eclipse, brand new beginnings, fresh start, new vision eclipse in Aries, which again is in your 6th house. And this is saying, what is your vision for 6th house matters, for your health? What is your vision for your work? How do you want your life to go on a daily basis? Is there a habit that you want to cultivate? This could be you want to get stronger in your body. This could be you want to have a different work environment. You want a different boss. You want to have your own business. You want to live someplace else. Like it's our daily life. So this is a time to really be asking what's most important to you in your daily life. What needs do you have that must be satisfied, and how can you satisfy them? On March 30th, Neptune will move into Aries, your 6th house again. You get the theme here is over and over for all of us, wherever this is happening. It's really being amplified this month. And so again, your new dream, your new vision with Neptune in Aries, I hope that you will feel inspired, Scorpio, in 6th house areas. Some of you, I think, are going to be focused on your physical health. Others may be on your mental health. Others may be on a spiritual practice. After all, the 12th house is our spiritual practices, and that is right across from the 6th house. So that could be up for you as well, getting closer to your divine source. Let's see what the cards have to say. For you, beautiful Scorpio. Scorpio, your card is uncovering treasure. Beneath the surface lies great bounty. To me, this is what I was just saying, like doing a deeper dive into 12th house, the inner you. As I said, across from the 6th house energy, which is your Aries house, is your Libra house in the 12th house. And I feel, even though, none of these things are happening in the 12th house, if you have energy, for example, in your 12th house, this card may really pertain to you. And even if you don't have planets in the 12th house, you may feel this because it's on the same axis and there's someone revving their engine. You might hear that. That may not come out of the video if I can't edit it out. But you are invited to dive deep and to find the abundance within you, the jewels within you, the fact that you are a gem, Scorpio, that you are a spirit of sparkling light with facets. I'm hearing facets beyond your most possible imagining. Some of you may not be aware. If you could see yourself the way the divine sees you. A meditation, I have several on my YouTube channel. You can also download one for free off of my website when you sign up to get my weekly updates for free. And there's something the divine wants to show you about you this month that is going to elevate and uplift your perception of who you are. It's going to show you the gold in you. And we're not in the year of the dragon anymore, but we are in the year of the snake. And there's something about the transformation of this. And Scorpio, you are co-ruled by Pluto, which is transformation. If you want to claim your bounty, your inner bounty, your outer bounty, beautiful Scorpio, let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Libra, hello, beautiful Libra. Libra, on March 1st, Venus, your ruler, is going to shift into retrograde motion in Aries in your 7th house of partnerships. This makes an opposition to your energy, and this means you will likely feel it in your partnership, if you have a partnership, or in an important relationship in your life, or within yourself. Venus going retrograde in your 7th house often brings up a dynamic that our soul wants to show us. It could be a wonderful, joyful time for you. A Venus retrograde doesn't have to be difficult, but often there's an intensity when it's happening in the 7th house because it is opposite us and it involves other people in some way. You could be having some important talks with somebody during this retrograde. Then Venus is going to shift into Pisces, not until the 27th of March in your 6th house of health, routines, your optimal health, your energy levels, also your daily work and your lifestyle. So that isn't going to be till the end of the month, but when Venus retrogrades into Pisces, Libra, you may be reconsidering, or something could come up for you around these areas of, am I happy in my job? Do I want to do something different to do with the way that I take care of my body or my mental health or my spiritual practice? Do I need to make a tweak in my lifestyle, in other words? On March 13th, Pacific time, the full moon lunar eclipse is going to happen in Virgo, and that is going to be your 12th house. And in the 12th house, that is the house of that is the house of rest and retreat. It's our inner mystic. It's our subconscious mind. And so could be a deeply moving eclipse for you. I have to say, it could be deeply moving. It's happening on this 6th and 12th house axis, which is really the axis of health and healing. And it's the axis where we're more sensitive, or more tuned into our subconscious, but also the messages that we're getting from the divine. And it is a full moon lunar eclipse, south node eclipse, which means there's a release, there's a letting go, there's a clearing out, there's a releasing of the past. There is a rewiring of your subconscious mind, a change in the way that you are telling the story about your life, perhaps. Maybe you are changing your work. Maybe you are having to do something different regarding your health. You could be healing something, if I didn't say that already. This is clearing, this whole Pisces season up until March 20th is clearing the path, Libra, for the next chapter of our life. It really is. And you having gone through so many eclipses already, the eclipses have been working on you for the last couple of years. We're going to have one more on your axis this month. So this Pisces energy is really helping you to clear out, release, let go, so that we can move into a new phase of life. On March 20th, the sun will enter Aries. That is your opposite sign. That is spring coming out in your life, but it's in your relationship where you will most likely feel this. Oppositions we feel through other people often. Of course, we can project onto other people and not know that we're doing so. That can happen too, but we are, with this, you know what springtime is like for you, Libra. Just because it's an opposite you doesn't mean other people can reflect spring back to you as well. They can reflect the joy of life. Libra, you are somebody who really thrives in connection. You thrive in partnership. Spending time with others is really important to you. And that's because you have Aries energy opposite you, I believe. So it can be really beautiful. On the 29th is when we're going to have the last eclipse on the axis of you, basically. Libra, Aries, the last eclipse. Now this one will be in Aries, but it's still opposite you. And so many of you will have a new inspired dream around something to do with partnership. Maybe you want to go do something fun and adventurous and exciting with a partner. Maybe you want to start a business with someone. The 7th house is not just romantic partners. It's not just marriages or significant others. It's also business partners, people that we spend a lot of time with, whose back we have. They have our back. You get the idea. But Aries energy is inspired energy, right? It wants us to come more alive again. And for you, it wants you to benefit from the joy of relationship, whether it's a relationship with another or with your own soul, with your own spirit. A new aspect of you, perhaps a new soul essence coming more alive, Libra. On March 30th, Neptune is going to move into Aries. This is a visionary energy Neptune. Neptune's been in Pisces for almost 15 years. it's coming into your 7th house energy now, and the whole sign has the whole sign house system. It's your 7th house. So what does this mean? It means that with Neptune going through your 7th house for the next many years, these are epic transits, they're long transits. You are wanting to actualize your ideal in relationship. And again, it's not just marriage. It's not just a significant other. It's anyone that we want to have their back. We want them to have our back. They're significant relationships in our life, and they can be business or personal. So I think you're going to feel the igniting of this fire of Aries for sure this month. And this is meant to be a new chapter for you, Libra, especially because this is the last eclipse. Bunch of cards fell. This is the last eclipse on your axis. So too many cards fell. I'm going to shuffle again. Let's see. Let's see, Libra. What do the cards have to say for you? Libra. Your card is time to just give yourself time to cleanse. Purification will activate your vibrant life force. You may feel tired. Pisces energy can do that. You may feel like I just need a retreat. I just need to be on my own. I mean, after all, a lot of this Pisces energy, the Venus retrograde, the Mercury retrograde will retrograde back into Pisces in your 6th house. That is opposite your 12th house, and the lunar eclipse in Virgo. The lunar eclipse in Virgo is happening in your 12th house. So I'm not surprised. This is a 12th house card to me. Purification. And 6th house energy is purifying too. You are cleansing, releasing so that you can prepare for this new Aries season. Neptune in Aries, the solar eclipse in Aries. If you relate to anything I shared and you want to leave a comment, Libra, I would love to hear. Virgo. Hello, beautiful Virgo. Virgo. This is a time that you will likely feel. You will likely feel this month. Why do I say this? We have the lunar nodes in Pisces and Virgo. We have an eclipse, a lunar eclipse in your sign, Virgo. This is going to be a month, I feel, that you're going to have focus on your relationships and your finances. And I will tell you why as we get into it. On the 1st of the month is when Venus will retrograde into Aries in your 8th house of power, control, the house of emotional attachments, the house of our finances, as we share them with others, loans and taxes. It's the house of death and rebirth and transformation. Venus retrograde here is likely having you focused on your money or your assets or what you're building with another person or any sort of power struggle that could be coming up with another person around these issues. Venus will retrograde back into Pisces, not until the 27th of the month. And when it does so, it will be in your 7th house of partnerships, which is where the lunar eclipse is going to happen for you as well on March 13th. So it's Venus, love, money, relationships, stuff can come up around financial issues or just around anything. You know, we tend to have the same argument with people over and over, right? That could get sort of heightened or amplified during a Venus retrograde for sure. The lunar eclipse in your sign, beautiful Virgo, is happening in your 1st house of identity, your roles, your vitality, your appearance. When we have a lunar eclipse in our sign, it's usually quite impactful, especially if you have planets or points around the 23-degree point where this eclipse is happening. So 18 to 28 degrees, you will feel this eclipse probably quite intensely. And this eclipse is saying release, let go. Let go of what is no longer meant for you. We're all moving on. We're in a new timeline. We're not meant to stay stagnant. We're not meant to stay in anything that isn't in alignment with our soul. And this will likely bring up your relationship status, or could, because the 7th house of relationships is right across from your 1st house. Some of you don't want to be in relationship. You're not in relationship, all fine and well, but it may bring up your identity at work as well. It may bring up just your own self-image. And you may be releasing an identity so that you can take on a new identity, such as becoming a business owner or saying yes to making a passion a vocation. You know, it can be a lot of different things. Some of you will feel this in your health, and some of you may decide to do some sort of something to do with your appearance, which I would not, if it's permanent, I would not do that during a Venus retrograde. On March 14th, Pacific time, Mercury will retrograde into Aries and Pisces in the same signs that Venus is retrograding that I just mentioned earlier, your 8th and your 7th houses. Mercury won't retrograde back into Pisces in your 7th house until the very last day of this month. So most of it's going to be your 8th house. Most of it has to do with assets, shared resources with others, intimacy, sexuality. And this is where, you know, Mercury retrogrades are times for rethinking, redoing. You may be looking at your finances, most likely you will be, your assets, investments. You may be working on something with a partner, a former partner. Some of you could be splitting up assets. Some of you could be negotiating on a business level. This could have to do with clients as well. On March 20th, the sun will enter Aries. That's your 8th house. And that's also where we're going to have the new moon, new beginning solar eclipse in Aries on the 29th of the month. Lots of 8th house energy for you, which is why I said, because the 8th house is a relationship and a money house. That's why I said you are very likely to have something come up in partnership or in finances with another person this month. It's the house of power. It's the house of, you know, where we can feel powerless, but it's also the house of where we can set clear boundaries and assert our, you know, true, authentic power, where we can have our own backs. On March 30th, Neptune will move into Aries. And so Neptune in Aries, this new moon, new beginning solar eclipse on the 29th, this is all about us saying yes to our hearts. All about it. All about us. This 8th house where this is all happening for you is also the house where we want the deep, juicy experience of a rich inner life. A rich, you know, it's a combination of inner, but also like the sensuality of life as well. And where we want to feel materially secure. We want to be self-sufficient financially. So all of that could be up for you, and with Neptune and Aries going through your 8th house for many, many years to come. Some of you may be thinking about being self-employed. This is the house of clients, and coming together with some sort of plan for your financial security. Putting money away, investing, buying a house, real estate, all of that. Or you may feel it on more of an emotional level, that you want an emotionally, mutually reciprocal, emotionally bonded, rich, deep, spiritually aligned relationship. Okay, so let us now see what the cards have to say for you, beautiful Virgo. Virgo. Your card is joy and delight. Open your heart to joy. I love this so much. This is a card of your inner child. This is saying, let that inner child have a voice. Let her play. Let her dance. Let her sing. Do a meditation. See yourself as the little girl doing whatever lights you up. There is so much light in this card. Your light will expand exponentially if and when you decide to include your heart, your inner child in your decisions. That's part of what this card is saying. It's acknowledging those of you who already give physical playtime to yourselves. And if you don't, it's really guiding you to do this, because this is going to expand your joy and fulfillment in your life. Beautiful Virgo, if you relate to this, if you had a 5-year-old or a 3-year-old by your side all the time, how would your life be different? What would you say yes to? What would you prioritize? It's time to open your heart to joy. If this resonates, let me know in the comments. I would love to know. Leo, hello, beautiful Leo. Leo, you will experience the Venus retrograde in Aries on March 1st in your 9th house of expansion. You're getting a trine, a beautiful wind at your back kind of energy from your fire igniting, from Aries fire igniting your fire, Leo. And this is the house of higher learning, where you could be looking at, reviewing, reflecting on, do I want to take a certain certification or degree program? Where do I want to learn more? Do I want to expand more? You are going to want to expand more. Venus retrograde in your 9th house could have to do with foreign travel or living someplace else. It could have to do with visas. It could have to do with meeting somebody from another country. It could have to do with publishing or teaching or speaking. It could have to do with your spiritual belief systems and looking at those. Some of you may be evaluating a religion. Some of you may be evaluating the learning that you've had up till now. The whole point of the 9th house and the Venus retrograde is to awaken you to a part of you or a pattern or a dynamic that hasn't been in alignment with your Venusian self, with your heart, with what your feminine, your inner feminine, male or female, truly, truly wants in your heart of hearts, your desire. And a Venus retrograde here could have you, some of you could have taken another language or be in language school. And I know this is very specific, but like deciding I don't want to keep learning this language, or I want to learn a new language, or, often this is other places, but it can also be government. It can also be government jobs. It can be teaching or, training other people, or where you just have a message that you want to share with other people. And you could be kind of going back over, do I still want to do this? Or the amount of money that you're making doing it. It can be financial too. Venus will retrograde back into Pisces. And when it does so, it'll be March 27th. It will be in your 8th house of power, control, transformation, death, and rebirth, your house of intimacy, the house of assets, loans, transformation, death, and rebirth. So when this happens, Leo, you could be, because it's Venus and that's our finances, and it's also our love, bonds and relationships, things could be coming up around any of that as well during that transit. And can be a more intense transit because it's the 8th house, and the 8th house has an intensity to it. It is our emotional attachments. But big picture, this Venus retrograde wants to liberate and free you to align everything that's happening in your life with your own values, what matters most to you, and what you deserve, what is important and that you deserve. On March 13th, Leo, the full moon lunar eclipse will happen in Virgo in your 2nd house of material security, your money, your earned income, your values, and your self-worth. So you can see the theme here. It's happening multiple times for you with these transits, right? So this is a full moon lunar eclipse, which means endings, release, letting go. It means a truth coming to light. It's your financial axis. Many of you probably are wanting to build a sense of material security, a sense, this has to do with investments or assets, but you're wanting to feel like you are receiving what you need from your efforts and that your finances are in order. This is a call to put your finances, or, for some of you, this could be real estate. For some of you, this could be stocks. It really doesn't matter. It's about your security. March 14th, Mercury will retrograde back into Aries. That's in your 9th house, like the Venus retrograde that I spoke about, and then into Pisces at the very last day of the month. That's your 8th house, where Venus will also retrograde in Pisces. So it's the same territory, growth and learning and expansion for Aries. And Pisces, it's that 8th house again, where the lunar eclipse is happening for you. On March 20th, the sun will move into Aries. Again, this is very expansive for you this month. The 9th house, new adventures. It trines your energy. this is like, what do you want to do to expand? What new scenery do you need? We can get new scenery from reading. We can get new scenery from going to concerts. We can get new scenery from road trips, right? From traveling to other countries, from watching movies. There's a lot of different ways that it can come. From learning. Some of you will want to study a metaphysical art, or you will want to start a degree program. But what's important to know is that this is a new vision. It's life wanting to come more alive through you. It's the sun wanting to shine through you, a solar eclipse, and it's wanting you to ignite the passion of your heart and say yes to your heart. Same thing with Neptune moving into Aries the next day after the eclipse on the 29th, the solar eclipse, and then the 30th. This is the second to last day of the month when Neptune moves into Aries, and it's like the dream is on, Leo. The dream is on. Whatever the dream, the new dream of your life is, it's trining you. It's an ease. It's a flow. I don't think inspiration will be hard for you to come by, Leo. I think that you are really ready for this. Leave me a comment. Let me know. I think you are really ready to feel ignited. Let us see what the cards have to say. Leo, because the ninth house is the house of adventures, and where you could be releasing an old something like a religion or something oppressive, something that has felt heavy. Some of you could be ending a program, a learning program. You could even be walking away from a degree that you decide you don't want to do anymore. That could happen for some of you. Or walking away from living in a certain country. It could feel big to you, this sort of walking away. But ultimately, because that eclipse in Virgo is in your second house, it has to do with your finances in some way, or your just your values, your self-worth, your deserving. Let's see what the cards have to say. Leo. Leo. Your card is trust that there is a divine plan. Some of you have felt in a desert passage, but do you see in this card how this person is walking toward the sun? And that is the solar eclipse that it's trining your energy. That's Neptune that will be trining your energy. There is a big shift happening for you. If you've been through a desert passage, do you see all the orange and yellow in the light? That is ending for you. You may need to trust for now, especially the very first 3 weeks of the month, which are mostly Pisces energy, where we're meant to release and let go. Some of you with that full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo in your second house could be releasing a way that you've made money. You could be releasing an old narrative in your mind that you had a glass ceiling when it came to a promotion, or a glass ceiling when it came to what you're worth. You could be under earning. You could be going through transition from where you are now to where you want to be. That's this card. But look at all the sunlight, that solar eclipse that you're walking toward that trines your energy. You relate to this. If you want to claim trusting in a divine plan, let us know in the comments below. Cancer. Hello, beautiful Cancer. Cancer, I have my moon and my rising in Cancer, and those of you who are Cancer risings are going to experience the March 1st Venus retrograde happening right out of the gate, first of the month, in Aries, in your 10th house of career, legacy, life purpose expressed, retirement, semi-retirement. Your passion, if your passion is also a career, that's not true for everyone, but some of you need a course correction in career or in how you spend your time if you're retired. The course correction is the Venus retrograde. Venus retrograde is what we call a reset. We're reviewing, we're examining, we're reflecting, we're saying this has to change, that has to change. For you, it's your 10th house of career. You could also feel it in your 4th house because that's directly opposite your 10th house, and that is home and family. You could be looking at, do I want to move? That's possible too. When Venus retrogrades, beautiful Cancer, back into Pisces on the 27th of March, it will go into your 9th house, and that's your house of expansion. That's your house of long distance travel, higher learning, spiritual belief systems, your philosophy. You could be reflecting on Pisces energy. We can overgive, we can over sacrifice. You could be reflecting on new scenery. Where do you need new scenery? You could be questioning a learning program. You could be questioning a philosophy. You could be in a relationship with someone from another country or another culture, and that could be coming up for you. You could be deciding, plain and simple, where do I want to be? Where do I want to spend my time? You do get a trine from that Pisces energy, which is quite lovely. Really, really nice for Cancer energy. That will ease the Venus retrograde, at least the Pisces part. The Aries part is squaring you, and the square is tension and pressure, where you do have to take some sort of action. So during the Venus retrograde, if it makes any connections to your Cancer energy, which I speak about the degrees of this transit in the first part of this video, if it does, you will probably feel like you need to take some sort of action, Cancer. On March 13th, we have the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, which sextiles your energy, and sextiles are opportunities, they are flow, they are you taking some sort of initiative, which then brings an opportunity or a solution, and that's lovely. It's happening in your third house of your local environment. There's a release and letting go here. Some of you will leave your local environment. Somebody will change, some of you will change up where you're doing something in your local environment, like where you are. You know, this is third house is like the things that we do on a regular basis. Maybe like I like a certain cafe to work at. I usually go to a cafe to edit these videos because it's hours and hours of time that I spend editing, and I would rather be in a cafe doing it with my head earbuds in, of course, than sitting in the same environment where I've spent hours filming the video. You get the idea. Cancers are people who usually like cycles. They like spending a certain amount of time doing something, and then they like a shift in cycle. That's Cancer energy. It's water energy. You need to have things change up over time. I know that's very abstract, but hopefully you understand what I mean. You can do an intense amount of work, for example, or focus, but then you need a cycle of relaxation after the cycle of that. So you're cyclical. So what does that mean with this lunar eclipse in Virgo? Well, the lunar eclipse in Virgo is saying that it's time for a new chapter or a time for a new cycle for some people. And for you, that may show up in a change in your mindset, a change in the way you perceive yourself or your life, a change in your inner narrative, a new story. Many Cancers are still coming off of that Pluto and Capricorn transit where they have to release an old story of lack or loss and embrace a new story that we're in a brand new cycle, we're in a brand new era, and we can have, you know, bounty again. We can have an increase or abundance or, you know, more pleasure, more fun, we can come back to life, in other words. You could experience this full moon lunar eclipse in a relationship with a sibling, an aunt, uncle, cousin. That would be taking space. That would be maybe cutting ties. That would be perhaps becoming closer again, shifting your relationship in some way. But I love that you're getting a sextile from this. And just know that if you feel like something is leaving, that's what this eclipse is. It's a south node eclipse. We're meant to leave the shadow of Virgo, which is too much pressure on ourselves, too hard on ourselves, too much of an unattainable standard we can set for ourselves in Virgo energy. On the 14th of March, Mercury is going to retrograde in Aries in the same place that Venus is retrograding, which is your 10th house of career and retirement and how you're spending your time. And then on the 31st of March, it will retrograde back into Pisces in your 9th house of expansion. So since I already talked about both of those houses where the Venus is retrograding, I won't repeat myself. But on March 20th, we have Aries season, and that is new life. You could feel like the sun is coming out in your life. Now, Aries energy squares you, Cancer, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't invigorate you. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you get invigorated by Aries energy. I would love to hear. I do, but I also have Mars in Aries. So, but you know, the cardinal signs, even though they make squares to each other, they get each other. They get each other. They are cardinal. They want to initiate new things. They are the go-getters of the zodiac. You are a go-getter of the zodiac, Cancer. And in the 10th house of career, within Aries season, there could be something you want to start here. or you want to make a change in your current career or how you spend your time if you're retired. Or if you don't have a career but you work, you might want more fulfillment and meaning in more of your days, more of your time. March 29th, we'll have the new moon solar eclipse in Aries in your 10th house, and Neptune will move into Aries the day after. And this is a new vision for you, a new dream, just say yes, just do it. Neptune in Aries, solar eclipse in Aries. It's a fresh new start for you, beautiful Cancer. What is lighting up your heart? If you don't feel it now, it's very possible you will feel it when we get past, Aries season begins, and then we get closer to the solar eclipse. And again, it could be a move for you because the 4th house of home is across from your 10th house. Okay, so let's see what the cards have to say for you, Cancer, and let me know if you know what it is for you. I would love to hear in the comments. I can't respond to a lot of the comments, but I read every single comment. And I try to heart all the comments to the best of my ability. Okay. Beautiful Cancer. Your card is for the month of March. Cancer. Rejuvenation. Clear the past, heal the present. I'm not surprised because you're getting Pisces energy this month, which is very healing to your energy. And you're getting Aries energy, which is saying we've got to clear the past so that we can be in this present moment, because Aries only lives in the present. Aries is all about the now. Aries is the Fool in the tarot. So if you need time to just be and clear the past, and I know that a lot of us feel like we have cleared our past, and yet there's some thread or remnant or something there. And how do you know if you haven't cleared your past yet? It's oftentimes when we can't fully see or feel what we want next. Often there's something that is lingering. And that's where we can ask the divine to help us to do that clearing. Pamper yourself, Cancer. Give yourself the time that you need to be in stillness, in solitude, to receive this rejuvenating rain. And if you want to claim that you are ready to receive, or anything else you want to claim, let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Gemini, hello, beautiful Gemini. Beautiful Gemini. I have my natal sun in Gemini. And those of you who are Gemini risings are going to experience the March 1st Venus retrograde in Aries in your 11th house of hopes, wishes, dreams, allies, long-term financial gains, the house of causes, the house of social media platforms, your audience, your following if you have one, your friendships, just where you want to feel supported, where you want to feel like you are aligned with your heart. And it's the house of tribe. It's the house of promotions and branding if you do anything like that. It's the house where we're often gathering with others online, such as YouTube, or where we are feeling, hanging out with friends, we're feeling supported. You get a sextile from this energy, which should soften the Venus retrograde for you. That is going to depend on probably the other planets and points in your chart. We are quite complex people, but just know that your Gemini energy is receiving positive energy flow from Venus retrograde in Aries. And if something comes up, Gemini, you should be able to work through it quite easily, even if it involves another person, because sextiles bring opportunities and solutions, and sextiles bring a certain amount of flow that we don't receive from the harder aspects. Now, Gem, Venus will retrograde back into Pisces on March 27th in your 10th house of career. This means that you could be reflecting and re-examining on your career, re-examining decisions, choices. It's Venus, it's love, relationships. It's Venus can be our love for our coworkers. It can be our love for what we do. It can be our lack of love for any of that. It could be our lack of love flowing with the supervisor. This is your legacy. It's retirement or semi-retirement. You could be really reflecting on your current values and asking, do I want to still stay in this career? Or do I want to leave? Do I like this work environment? Do I want to start my own business? Do I want to be in another kind of industry, or environment? Any of that could be going on, Gemini. And you get a square, you and Pisces energy square, which means more tension, more pressure, more questioning for a lot of you, a desire to take action, a feeling like you are motivated to take some sort of action. That's the positive of a square. On March 13th, you're going to have the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo in your 4th house of home and family. So you can see in childhood conditioning, so you can see that both the Venus retrograde at the end of the month when it goes back into Pisces and the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, these are happening on the angles of your chart. The 10th house is an angle. The 4th house opposite the 10th house is an angle. What does that mean? If you're Gemini ascendant rising, that means that these are important points of your chart. And it means that these can feel like crucial decisions, like you are really trying to decide about a home or family issue, meaning you might want to move, you might want to work on an issue with a family member, or you've decided you have to take space from a family member, or some of you cut ties, some of you do the healing work on inner child stuff having to do with parents, perhaps. It's a South Node eclipse, and South Node eclipses have us often doing some sort of shadow work to release any emotional residual stuff, baggage as we call it, around. For you would be home, family, or childhood conditioning. Could be around career too. This is happening on your 4th and 10th house axis. So you could be releasing a pattern of perfectionism, self-sacrifice, feeling martyred, feeling like a victim of a situation, or like my life would be so much better if I didn't have those parents, that kind of thing. That's when we can really get amazing revelations around eclipse time, showing us what has been holding us back and how can we, and give us a motivation to shift that within ourselves. On March 14th, dear Gem, Mercury will make a retrograde. Oh my gosh, I have done a lot of these and I'm right here with you, but my mind is perhaps slowing down like happens with Mercury retrograde. That's so funny. Mercury retrograde, Gemini, you get this because we are ruled by Mercury. On March 14th, it will retrograde into Aries, which will be in your 11th house, which is just like the Venus retrograde. Then it will retrograde back into Pisces at the very end of the month into your 10th house, just like the Venus retrograde. You get the idea. We are getting double retrogrades in the same houses to really, I think, wake us up to anything that is not in alignment with our values. And that could be our story, Mercury. That could be our conversations and the way that we frame life, Mercury. The way that the beliefs that we have around what we think we can have or not have, Mercury. That is up for renovation this month. The sun will enter Aries on March 20th, and that will be in your 11th house. And we will also have the equinox here, which is new life, new rebirthing time. All of this in your 11th house. What a beautiful place, Gemini. Why do I say this? Because the 11th house is the house of your dream, your current dream. What brings you alive? As Howard Thurman said, don't ask what the world needs, ask what brings you alive, because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. So beautiful, Gemini. Aries season, the new moon solar eclipse, which is about a new vision, which is happening on the 29th of the month, is happening also in your 11th house. You are really being called. This is a calling. This is a heroine's journey. You are being called to receive a new vision. It may not happen all at once. It rarely does. It could be we call it following the crumbs, right? One tiny clue at a time, one sign, one synchronicity, following it. Saying yes to it. It won't be hard because it's a sextile, and sextiles are opportunities or solutions. Sextiles are meant for us to see, I need this, I have this question, I need this answer. And then it comes because we initiate the desire, we ask for it. Neptune will then move into Aries also in the 11th house. This is a brand new era. And this is also a sextile, of course. So new things are brewing for you in the 11th house of hopes, wishes, and dreams. Also long-term financial gains. Also where we create social media platforms, where we reach out to others, we initiate something that we put out into the world that then brings us back. Hopefully what we give out, we receive back enough of so that it sustains us, right? Beautiful Gemini. So let us see now what the cards have to say for you. I feel like a lot of you are on a hero's journey. I mean, that's really what I see the 11th house as. The 11th house is we are brave, we are bold, it's Aries energy, and we are ready, and we ask, we say, tell our co-creating divine source what we want. And it may feel scary, but hopefully it feels inspired enough to say yes. Gemini. Yes, I love this. Passion and pleasure savor your life. The 11th house is the house of tribe and community. Do you see in this card how it's a community? They're dancing around the fire. They're sweating their prayers. They are doing ecstatic dance, some of them, whatever they're doing. Whatever they're doing, their music's playing and they're dancing. And most Gemini people love to dance. Gem, let me know. I'm a Gemini. I love to dance. Most Geminis love to move, partly because it gets you out of your head, gets you out of your mind. That's a good thing for Geminis, right? It's safe to savor your life. It's safe to get more passion. It's safe to get more pleasure and passion into your life. Passion, it's a new word. It's safe you are safe to receive and savor your life. Beautiful Gemini, if you want to claim that you are savoring your life, that you are saying yes and receiving the passion and pleasure that is your birthright, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Taurus, hello, beautiful Taurus. Taurus, March 1st, Venus, your ruler, it will go retrograde in Aries in your 12th house of rest, retreat, the mystic, the subconscious mind, your inner narrative. This Venus retrograde is going to take you on a deeper dive. It may show you something you haven't seen before. It could bring karmic people into your life. It could have you experiencing a momentary conversation with somebody that then shows you something you didn't see before. It could take you back to a past life memory or experience that is quite healing for you. Venus retrogrades are not all gloom and doom. Venus retrogrades can be really enlightening moments, and the 12th house is the house where we often receive something that enlightens us. What I love about the 12th house is that's when we can have those out-of-body experiences. That's when we can have those moments of clarity and epiphany that really move us forward. Venus will retrograde into Pisces. That will be your 11th house. That's not until March 27th, but that is harmonious energy to your energy, and that is a sextile, which is a solution, or it's a problem solved, or it's a workaround, or it's an exciting innovation, and it's happening in your house of fulfillment, the 11th house. This is where we want support. This is where we want to have meaningful bonds with friends, where we want to feel supported by tribe, the house of hopes, wishes, and dreams, long-term financial gains, and also where we sometimes have a social media platform. It could be just friends where the idea is that you feel supported in it, right? Whether it's like a YouTube channel or whether it's, your Instagram account, either way, you're meant to feel supported by it. So that's the Venus retrograde. And Venus will go direct on April 12th. I speak all about that in my separate video on the Venus retrograde, which is a much deeper dive. So watch that if you want to know more. But on March 13th, beautiful Taurus, we are going to have a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, which is a compatible sign to you, Virgo's earth to your earth, and that will be your 5th house of fun, pleasure, adventure, children, romance, true love, and your own unbridled creative expression, your house of freedom. It's a trine to you. Trines are lovely. This lunar eclipse for you could be a manifestation. It could be where you have an ease in releasing and letting go of something, an old chapter having to do with children, having to do with parenting, having to do with fun, or having to do with a romance perhaps. But also this could be quite a fertile lunar eclipse for you if you want to get pregnant. March 14th, this is when, and just going back to that eclipse for a second, the whole idea of that lunar eclipse in Virgo is for us to shed. It's a south node eclipse. Sometimes on a south node eclipse, we can call in a soul, as in terms of like a fated meeting or a pregnancy, we can call in a soul. South node isn't bad. Like I shared in my lunar nodes video, the lunar nodes in Pisces and Virgo, how one of my daughters is Pisces, and she is right on her ascendant is conjunct my south node. So obviously, you know, we came into this lifetime to work together. It's a karmic relationship, but she's my daughter. I'm madly in love with her. She's my heart and soul. So, you know, it doesn't have to be something negative we often associate with karma and south node. But we are meant to shed a skin. We are meant to shed some sort of layer if it's unhealthy, if it's quote unquote the shadow of Virgo, which again I speak about in the first part of this video. Now on March 14th, Mercury will retrograde back into Aries in your 12th house, then into Pisces in your 11th house at the very end of the month. These are the same houses where Venus is retrograding. And the Mercury retrograde in Aries in your 12th house is going to take you on that deeper dive. You want to examine your thinking with the 12th house Mercury retrograde. Something will come up, possibly for some of you, depends on whether the planets or points or the degrees over which Mercury is retrograding are, you know, making any aspects to the degrees in your chart. But, and I do share those degrees in the first part of this video, but if they are, then you are being given an opportunity to shift something in your thinking, your inner narrative, your belief system, to open up more abundance, Taurus, more goodness, more sweetness of life. And when Mercury retrogrades back into Pisces, of course, you will get that lovely sextile. And that's your 11th house of dreams and fulfillment. So that's quite lovely in friendships and support. On March 20th, the sun will enter Aries in your 12th house of spiritual awakening. The new moon solar eclipse on the 29th will be in your 12th house. And Neptune entering Aries, the new era beginning on the 30th. That is also your 12th house. So I feel that some of you are up for a spiritual awakening, which is what a gift, what an incredible gift to have a spiritual awakening. Lots of ways that can happen. That can happen in our dreams. It can happen in meditation. It can happen when we're driving, when we're in the shower. I mean, we can open up to another level of our purpose, or why we were meant to be here, or the fact that we were meant to be here for something else. That can happen in so many different ways. So it can happen when we're reading a book even. But to have so much energy, and especially with Neptune entering a new sign in your 12th house, Neptune will be there for years and years and years in your 12th house. That is really aligning you with the divine. Really beautiful alignment with the divine. Get ready, Taurus. You are going to have a whole other chapter of life that I feel is beyond, you know, on a spiritual level, intuitive level, psychic level, than you've ever experienced before in this lifetime. Very, very cool. Some of you may become quote unquote spiritual healers if you haven't already. Some of you may become channelers. You may have a spiritually based career in the future as a result of, you know, or deepen one if you already do. But this is a deeper connection to the divine, the way I see it, and a rewiring of your subconscious mind, some of you. Okay, so Taurus. Let us see what the cards have to say for you now. Taurus. Your card is You are a beacon for others, wise leader. Get ready, Taurus. Some of you are stepping into leadership in some way, whether that's a spiritually based career, whether that is you saying, yes, I'm on this path and I want to share it with others. It will be different for everyone. It could be you saying yes to a promotion. It could be you beginning to teach. It could be you could be starting a group. You could be leading a group out of your own home. That's the way I started with my spiritual coaching many, many, many years ago. I talk about that in my book, The Magic of Saying Yes, and my whole journey to moving from a career as a lawyer to a career as a spiritual coach. But that's just an example. There's so many ways that we can do it, right? One baby step at a time. You are a beacon for others, beautiful Taurus. If you want to claim this in the comments below, let us know. I would love to hear. My beautiful friend, thank you so much for joining us for this March 2025 astrology video. Wow, wow, wow is all I can say now about the March 2025 astrology. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you for giving it a thumbs up, for commenting. I love your comments. Thank you for sharing this video with others, for subscribing. When you share and subscribe, you support my channel. You ignite the algorithm that then sends this video out to more people who love astrology, and you really help me to be able to continue to do these videos for you. If you would like to do an astrology consultation with me or a clarity coaching session, go to my website, check out my offerings. You will there see testimonials from other clients who have shared their experience of working with me, and that should give you a sense of whether you feel called to work together. In terms of astrology consultations, we can do a life purpose, a heart's desire, a natal chart reading, a relationship synastry reading. There are so many options on my website. Go and check them out. And I can also coach you and do some deeper dive work with you if you're ready to release and let something go. That is something we can do in a clarity coaching session as well. Join us in Laguna Beach, California on the 13th of March. We will be doing a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo gathering. I will guide you in a deep meditation. It will be a wonderful time spent together in community. All of the information to get your ticket is in the description box below and on my events page on my website. I have a free gift for you, and that free gift is a soothing guided meditation connecting you to your divine source. If you would like to receive that, go to my website, subscribe for free, and you will get that free instant download gift right away. Thank you to my Sunday chat friends for joining us. I absolutely love hanging out with you. And for whenever you are watching this video, leave us a comment. Let us know how you're feeling about this month of March. And until my next video, my beautiful friend, I'm sending you all my love.